Hello there, welcome you, Gaspar here from G.P.Airsoft, your fourth favorite GBBR channel. Today I have a very special video for you guys, which is the review / guide of the MP9. I'm gonna teach you guys how this gun works, the problems that this gun has, and much more. So stay tuned, leave a like, subscribe. Before I go any further, I gotta tell you guys that this gun is used, so it is not a new gun. I never had a brand new MP9, but I had lots of used ones, so I believe that I have enough experience to make this review. And before I go any further, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not gonna ask you, I'm gonna tell you to follow me on Instagram, because I'm rebuilding my channel over there and it will be very helpful if you follow. So I'm commanding you to do so. Let's get to the review. Also, I'm sorry about my voice. I have waited 5 days to record this, but it is not getting better. So yeah, you're gonna have to endure this with me, but it is worth it. Let's get to the review. Alright, first things first on this gun, as I always say, this gun is very solid. It feels solid, so you get steady gun with no wiggling parts whatsoever. So beginning the review here, we have the magazine release, which is on the left side of the gun, just like a pistol. You can press it and it is free fall, so you don't have to pull the mag off, it just falls off, so to make an easier reload. Now, to cock the gun, you have the charging handle on the back, almost like an AR-15. You gotta press it in and then pull backwards. And this press is to release the lock, so this little tab is locked in place so that it doesn't come off without you pressing the right side. Okay, the bolt on this gun locks open when empty, and you have this little lever on the left side again, just like a pistol, to release it. You have over here the fire selector of this gun. You have from one side semi and to the other side fully automatic, and it's completely accessible with either hand that you want to use. So you can just put it on the position that you want. To the left there's a little red ball that means semi-automatic, and to the right 3 red balls that means fully automatic. And the problem with this selector is that when you're resting your finger off the trigger, you may accidentally change the selection that you are on. So if you're playing left-handed, be careful not to full auto your buddies. Okay, here on the back we have the button to collapse the stock. You just press it and it will collapse sideways, and it's supposed to lock on the gun. This here is not gonna lock because of the impact, but it is supposed to lock on the side of the gun with a little tap. You push this button on the back here and it just frees the stock, and you can fold it to the side. An important thing to notice is that the clip that it holds in place is very small, so it has a little tolerance. Depending on the grip that you're gonna use on the rail version, you may not be able to close it at all. I don't have a foregrip that it is able to close, but one that came with my first MP9, and none other closes in place. And with the one that is already have a grip, you don't have to worry about anything like this, because it's designed to fold and lock in place correctly. And I have never heard of this stock breaking in any case whatsoever. Never seen a picture, never heard anybody complaining about the stock breaking. On the stock you have a little bit of play. This is the only part on the whole gun that it wiggles a little bit, but when you shoulder it you don't feel it whatsoever, so it's not a problem. Here we see the sling point, and it is not that big, so most of my slings don't fit, so I did this with paracord just so that I could use whatever sling I would want. Now we're gonna teach you how to load the magazine. Firstly, standard KWA style, you pull the follower all the way down and it locks in place. Then it's pretty easy to load BBs from the front. This gun has a metal mag lip, so you don't have to worry too much, but still, when you're gonna release it, you're not just gonna let it go. You pull it down, then press the button, and then you guide it upwards, just like this. Even if it's loaded, if it's not loaded, you're never just gonna let it go, because you are eventually gonna break things. To empty the magazine of BBs, you can just lock the follower down, and the BBs will come out easily. Just tap it a little bit and they are gonna come out very easy. This gun has the hop up on the chamber, standard KWA style, and it comes with the key, standard KWA key for pistols. You can work your hop up from here. Counterclockwise is more hop up and clockwise is less hop up. Pain in the ass to adjust, but it is KWA and it is standard. So the iron sights on this gun, they are fairly simple since this is a very small gun made for close combat, so you're not gonna have anything fancy. You have the rear sight, it's just an aperture that you can adjust windage, and the front sight is a completely fixed post, and everything is a little blocky. And that's the sight picture you get with this. Like I said, it's a little blocky, but you don't have to have a very accurate acquisition with this gun since it's a CQB gun. The gun itself weighs about 1.16 kilograms or 41 ounces. The longer magazine of this gun weighs about 554 grams or 19.5 ounces. And the small magazine weighs about 352 grams or 12.4 ounces. And the suppressor, if you may have and wanna know, is 430 grams or 15.2 ounces. And the complete gun itself, 2.14 kilograms or 75.8 ounces. So let's measure the gun. It is about 52 centimeters or 20.5 inches. With the stock collapse, 31 centimeters, 12 inches. Extended with the suppressor, 71 centimeters and 28 inches. Suppressor with the folded stock, 49 centimeters or 19 inches. Here on this gun, if you don't have access to the suppressor, you may as well use an adapter. There is available in the market adapters for this gun that you just put around the end of the barrel, and it gives you a 14mm counterclockwise thread, standard airsoft thread, so you can put a tracer or you can put another suppressor that you may like, and it is fairly easy to do so. Now, here we're gonna chrono this gun. And this gun is a bit too hot for the size and for CQBs depending on where you're playing. So I have a video on this gun showing you how to lower the FPS, and if you put the suppressor it gets hotter, so I have it chronoing with the suppressor on the other video. And here we can see about 1200 rounds per minute, and this gun is very fast. I'm gonna put something out of the way that I heard a lot of people saying, that the suppressor on the MP9 is a functioning suppressor, that it actually suppresses the noise of the gun, and I'm gonna get something clear for you guys right now. First, let's hear. This is without the suppressor. Now I'm gonna put the suppressor on, I'm gonna see that changes the profile of the sound. Clearly changes the profile of the sound, and I'm gonna put them right next to each other so that you can hear. That's the difference. And why is that the difference? Not because the suppressor is functional. It's because the MP9 naturally have a little cup on the end of the barrel that it makes the noise louder. So the gun is naturally louder than it's supposed to be. And when you put the suppressor in, the barrel ends at the end, and there's nothing to make it louder. So the suppressor does not make it suppressed, it just kills the little cup that makes it louder. So I don't want anybody saying that the suppressor on the MP9 actually works. Yeah, it works, but to make your FPS higher. Now let's get inside the gun, and we're gonna talk about the problems that this gun have. And I have seen it a lot while having many of these. Now to open here, you can see that you take the screw off, then you take the dust cover, then you take this little thing that locks the barrel in place, pull both latches down and upwards. If you want to see this slowly, you can check my other video. And here we can see the first problem and the most common problem of this gun, that it is the broken springs from the nozzle. Yes, this gun, you can see here that it has no spring tension, it is already broken. This does not matter, you can run the gun without the springs, but it sucks that it does this. And well, now second thing, we can see maybe in your gun this part right here is gonna be loose. If this part's loose, what's gonna happen? The dust cover is not gonna close perfectly to the gun, it's gonna be wobbly, so you can tighten the screw that holds it in place, and I'm going to teach you right now how to do it. First, we need to take off the spring to the trigger without losing it. Now you have two screws here that you need to unscrew to get the rail off. Now with the rail off, you can turn the gun upside down, and you're gonna see a little plate, a little metal plate that covers the screw. I don't know why this is here, I have no idea, so you lift it up a little bit and push it forward. Now you have access to the screw. I'm gonna loosen it a little bit just so you guys can see it wiggling, and this is what happens. It may happen to your gun, and if your gun is loose like this, you just need to do this procedure and tighten the screw that holds it in place. No, it's not that difficult, it's pretty easy. And so if your discover is not closing correctly, probably this is a problem that your gun has. Now we're gonna take off this little piece right here that holds the trigger in place, and we need to take off the C-clamp right here that holds the pin. Taking off the C-clamp, we can take off the pin. You need to work on the trigger a little bit to allow it to get out. Now you can take off the trigger with the transfer bar. It's a little hard, you need to pull it aside, and you need to have your hammer down. You put it down and then you just can lift it out of the gun. And it's not that easy, but it is not that difficult. You're gonna see when you do it. Now to the part that I'm very scared every time to do, but it is the only way that I found on the internet to do. If you know the correct way to do this, please let me know, because I haven't found anything on the internet to do this, and I have to believe that this is the wrong way to do it, but it's the only way that I found to do it. So leave a comment down below if you know how to do it correctly. We need to use 2 screwdrivers here on each side to make the side of the gun wider, and you can take off the whole sear mechanism. And this is a little bit scary depending if you're doing this for the first time, but trust me, if your gun is not neglected, your plastic is not too dry, you're gonna be able to do this with no harm to the gun. I've done it 100 times to a bunch of guns, never had any problem. Now the movement here is gonna insert one on each side, and you're gonna try to pull them apart from each other to widen the frame of the gun while trying to pull up the inside. It's a simple movement. Insert and pull both outwards. And this is a little bit tough to get it out because it's under the tension of the body of the gun trying to hold it together. And after you take that off, be careful with this pin right here. You may lose it, so be careful. This is important. Now here on the sear, we can have a look at the thing that causes the most problem on this gun, the hardest problem on this gun, that it is the disconnector. It's this piece right here that I'm wiggling. It's not that hard to find replacement part for this, but as you can see, it's not that easy to change it either way. So I'm gonna show you guys right here. Now here we have another C-clamp on the pin that holds it in place. Right here on the bottom, we need to take that off. After we take that off, we are able to take off the disconnector itself. Now here, the disconnector that you have, you just need to change. Now to put it back, you just need to put it in place. Once again, put the pin and the clamp in place, and you're gonna have to put the spring on the back. This spring right here is the last problem that we're gonna talk about on this gun, but we're gonna talk about it a little later. Now with it in place, you're just gonna have to put it back on the gun. Almost the same procedure. You use the screwdrivers to pull the sides apart so that you can insert the sear back in place. Just be careful with the hammer spring, that it has to go on a groove on the gun, and also be careful with the pin that I told you guys about earlier, this brass pin that just flew away and I almost lost it. So don't lose it, because it is very important. Now we're gonna have to pull the trigger and the bar back together. Keep your hammer down once again, and you just push it in place and wiggle it a little bit so that you can get it in. After you do so, you're gonna have to put the pin on the back. It is a little tough to do. This time here it was pretty easy, but usually it's not that easy. You firstly need to push it all the way across, and now here you're gonna try to wiggle the trigger, wiggle it a little bit, push it forward, down, up and down on the bar, just to find the correct spot to put the pin in. It's probably an easier way to do this, but this is how I learned how to do it. Alright, now we put the clamp back together and everything, the hardest part is over. Now here on the front, we're gonna put the spring on the trigger back. Now just have to put that little part that holds the trigger in place back, and you're done. The hardest part is over. You just need to basically field strip this gun back together. Now you put the lock back in place, then you put the bolt and the barrel back. You need to push the disconnector forward to put it back, remembering that. And then you can put the guide and the recoil spring back. And here on the front you have the lock of the whole thing. You can see here there is a little groove on the left side, and it is supposed to get to this groove on the pin that holds it in place. So you're gonna insert it like so and just push it forward. Now you can see here how it is gonna work when it is inside the gun. So hopefully that's the last video that I'm gonna record talking about it, because I did already 3 videos on it. Now put the lock back in place, and you're not gonna push it all the way to the back because it is not the correct position. You're just gonna find the correct position by looking at the hole and then aligning the pin with it. After that, you're just gonna put the spring back and you're golden. You did everything that you had to do. Put the front of the dust cover, then the back, push the guide, and the gun is closed. Oh my god. But it is not that hard to do. This gun is completely easy to work on, and it is a thing that everybody can do. Now here we're gonna talk about the third problem that this gun may have. As I'm gonna show you guys right here, I'm gonna guide the bolt back forward just so it doesn't close. As you can see here, there's a little hole there that is not supposed to have, and you have to close it. And this may happen. I don't know why, I don't know when, but this may happen. The gun is not closing completely. During action, a solution that I have for you guys to do so, like I said, but I cannot tell you how this happens, why this happens, and what would be the correct solution to it. But I have a way to make the gun work again. Okay, so it's the spring on the back right here inside. Like I said, the spring that holds the disconnector. So if you take the spring and you pull it beyond the point that it comes back completely, you're just gonna make the spring longer, and less tension is gonna go to the disconnector, making it easier for the bolt to close. So it may fix the problem that you're having. Now here I'm gonna clean this gun. I recommend you guys using Super Lube. I do not have it in my country, and I mean, I can have it, but it's super expensive, so I'm using another product. To clean this gun, you're just gonna take off all the lube that was here before, all the mess that was, the debris and anything, and then you're just gonna relube everything. What you're gonna relube? You're gonna relube specifically with guns that are more used. You're gonna see the paint scraped off some parts, and you're gonna lube right there to minimize the friction that these parts do together. So basically here I'm gonna lube the springs and these parts specifically that has wear on the paint, and also on the bolt we have 2 guides, and one on each side, and I'm gonna lube the grooves and the tabs that keeps the bolt in place. So I'm just gonna lube all that up to minimize friction, like I said, and there it is. This is how and you can see here that the gun's working smoothly, flawlessly. I just disassembled and reassembled it, and everything is just okay. Now the thing is about lubrication, that this part right here may never have any part of lubricant. Okay, so you cannot have lubricant on your BBs, you cannot have lubricant on your barrel, you cannot have lubricant anywhere near your hop-up. So aside from this, there's no problem of you lubing it, but you may not need to lube everything. Just keep the lube out of these parts right here, right in the chamber. So now we're gonna get to pros and cons. I'm here on my hunk cosplay. I know it's not the best, I know it's not even accurate, but I had the mask, and yeah, for me it's good enough. So this gun is very solid. Talking about the construction of it, it's very good. The weight on this gun is good enough for its size. It's not a very light gun. I was able to akimbo it in a game before. I'm gonna leave the link down below if you guys want to see. So the weight is not too much, but it is enough for the size of this gun. This gun is very comfortable to hold, to use, and I get this because I know about the MP7. I had some MP7s before, and they are not as comfortable to use. Everything on the MP9 is kind of rounded off, so it fits perfectly with your naked hand. So the MP7, I know that I hurt myself sometimes using it. This gun has an amazing precision for the size of it. I can take targets at 50 meters with no problem with this gun. 0.25 or 0.30 gram BBs, no problem whatsoever. And if I put the suppressor on, baby, this is a sniper. Now this gun is not per se ambidextrous, but it is very usable with both hands, so I'm gonna give it that. That's a good side to it, since it's almost like a pistol. You can operate with any hand that you want. Also, another plus on this gun, it is very cheap. I don't know why this gun is so cheap, because it's so good, but once again, the MP7 by VFC is also cheap, and it is a great gun. Now, problems with this gun. The disconnector breaks, like I said, eventually it will break. Also, the spring on the disconnect, you may have to deform it a little bit to make the gun work again. And the nozzle springs, that every time they break and I'm tired of changing them, I'm just gonna leave it out. Also, another problem with this gun that I have that comes from the real steel is the selector. I don't like too much the selector because it's easy to change it without wanting, and there's no safety on this gun. And the latest versions of the MP9 real steel versions have a selector just like a G36, but it is a later version and the Airsoft doesn't have it. So that's that. I'm not a big fan of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned anything. Hope you guys liked. So leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching to the end here, and I hope I can catch you guys on the next one.